everyone, you're welcome back to my YouTube channel. It's Aisha Verano here, guys. Hi. So if you would like to see how I achieved this look, please stay tuned. So today I'm doing something different. Stay tuned for the story time. And if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. And if you're a returning subscriber, I love you guys. Thank you so much for always watching my videos. Please give this video a thumbs up. Please make sure you share and make sure you leave a comment in the comment section. Thank you guys. So today I'm going to be doing sort of like a get ready with me, but also a story time video. As you can see, I've done my foundation, I've done my base, and I've done my brows off camera, so it should make everything a lot easier. So let's get into it. So I'm going to be applying my LA Girl Pro Conceal concealer, the one that I absolutely love. Just going to use that to highlight today. To apply that like that. Okay, so what I wanted to talk to you guys about, right, it's literally about how my brother lost his hearing. It was a very crazy time because of how everything transpired. And before that, he had never had any issues with hearing. I just wanted to talk to you guys about, you know, circumstances and what led to that, and I guess a story time video. So basically he was unwell at the time, so I can't remember why he was ill. So we took him to the doctors. This was when we were in Nigeria. So we took him to the doctor, and it was a private clinic. So we took him to the doctor. It was a private clinic that we had been going regularly. It was like a family clinic. Well, not a family clinic, but like one of those clinics that everyone in the family goes to because we love the doctor. He's lovely. So yeah, he was kind of like our family doctor. So we went to him. He told us what was wrong with him, and it wasn't anything that serious, right? So they're like, okay, fine, this is what he needs to use. He wrote how often he would have to take the drugs, right? So everything was good. It was all set up. So the next stage at that stage was to then go to the nurse who would give us the drugs. Went, you know, spoke to the nurse. This particular nurse, I think she was one of those ones they call auxiliary nurses, and I think that's probably because they're not I don't know, qualified as such, but they assist the doctors with prescription and stuff, because technically all they have to do is get the drugs out and then write whatever the dosage the doctor has already said on it. We went to her. She was like, oh, okay, there you go. We took the drugs. He started using the drugs, everything. We were like thinking, okay, but we started to notice this boy became quiet. We're like, okay, this is weird. Like, why is this active boy always jumping around, always talking, all of a sudden very quiet, barely saying anything? When we talk to him, he's so quiet, and he's just like smiling. I'm just like, okay, you can't just be smiling at what I just said. Like, something doesn't add up. So just before I continue the story, I'm going to be using this shadow right here. Actually, the Rumor one, I kind of like this one, so I'm going to be using that shade. I will list it in the description bar below, guys, sorry. So yeah, I'm just gonna go into that. Yeah, so it just got to a point where like we'll be trying to get his attention, and it would be such a nightmare. Like, you imagine like talking to someone that usually engages with you, and then all of a sudden you have to call them multiple times. Like, yo, I'm talking to you, bruh. Like, hello, what's going on, you know? And then they'll be like, oh, hi, hey, sorry. And then like, so by this stage, we didn't realize he had already started losing his hearing. We just thought like, what is going on with this boy? You know, he's all of a sudden becoming quiet. So we started to think something was up, but as he was unwell, we're just thinking maybe he's just not fully feeling better and stuff, you know. So we just started wondering like, what is going on with him? You know, we're like, okay, we know you're not feeling well, but what's going on? And you know, especially at that age, you think like they should be jumping around. And I think with him, that used to be him, jumping around everywhere, talking everywhere. And then all of a sudden you're like, yo, when did you become quiet? Like, this is not who I know. You know what I mean? So we started to feel like something was off, but we didn't know what it was. We're just like, okay, maybe he's, I don't know, something is, you know, he's not fully feeling well, and maybe we need to go back to the doctors. So we would be talking to this boy, right? Instead of this boy to be like, yo, I can't hear you lot, man, or I can't hear anything, he would just be laughing. Like, imagine I'm like, Afiz, can you like open the door? And we're like, can you open the door? Are you going to do it? Well, you know, the thing is, when we speak, so you know, like when we speak, we usually just like, for me anyway, when I speak, I use my hands as well. So when I'm like, oh, do this, do this, do this, you're probably thinking like, yeah, sure, I will do that. You know, so like it makes it easier because I'm like pointing at stuff, and I'm like, oh, can you go do that? And like, I think he was getting those prompts, and like he was like reading, I feel like he was also reading our lips. So when we're like trying to get his attention and we finally like tap him or something, he'll be staring at us, and we're just like, bruh, did you suddenly become a weirdo? Like, what's going on, you know? But we didn't even think it was like his hearing. But it now started to become obvious when we would like call his name. And you know, like with people, when you call your name, even if you're like distracted, sometimes like you just kind of, you know, like, oh, sorry, were you calling me or something? But with him, it was just like almost radio silence on the other end. And I'm like, is something wrong? Because I like purple. I'm going to be using this. Yeah. No, sorry, this one. I'm using this one. So like we were sort of like, yo, is something wrong? Like, we had to call this boy like multiple times. Is he not listening to us? Is he distracted? Is something going on? You know, we were just a bit like unsure about what was going on, really. Like, we're just like, yo, what is going on? What's going on, sir? You know? So we were just like thinking, okay, something has to be up. But we would, so when we called him, like we'll call him, we're like, Afiz, and then nothing. But if we're looking at him and we called him, he would respond. So it was like becoming clear that, okay, can this guy actually hear us? So we were like, can you hear us? Can you hear us? I was like, yeah. We're like, no, because every single time we call you, you don't respond. Then he was like, and then he was like, I can't hear. And we're like, oh my God, like how long has this been going on for? It was going on for weeks, you know? And like at first, I guess he was saying like he didn't fully lose his hearing. It was sort of like he could hear bits. So he could only hear from one ear at first. So like when we were calling him and trying to get his attention, that's why he would like either turn the other way towards us or like try to like face us so he can at least hear and read our lips. You know, and we didn't know this was going on the whole time. We're just like, yo, we're trying to talk to you. What's going on, bruh? You know, like look at us and stuff. We didn't even clock on. But when it became obvious was when we'll be calling his name and nothing. So then he finally told us like, you know what, he actually can't hear and stuff. And we're like, oh my God, what the hell is going on? So we went back to the doctors. The doctor saw the drugs and the dosage, and the doctor wanted to cry. He was like, oh my God, this is the wrong drugs. You were giving the wrong medication. And this dosage that he's been taking is lethal. No one should be taking that dosage, especially not a child. So basically, like, imagine you should be taking one of that drug a day. He was taking 2-3 times a day. 2-3 times a day. Let that sink in. Like, that is how huge the dosage he was taking. Like, that could have actually killed him. He could have overdosed on that. And everyone would be wondering, like, how did he die? You know, God forbid. You know, but it's just crazy how, like, that mistake on the part of the nurse literally could have cost so much. So, yeah, like, it's one of those things where, like, to this day, sometimes I just think about those days. We look back and we laugh about it, thank God, because we're just like, wow, you know, it could have been a lot worse, and like, you know, God restored his hearing back and stuff. But imagine it was a situation where his hearing never came back. Like, that would have been crazy. So imagine a kid at that age, everything is fine, and suddenly you lose your hearing. You know, you can't understand anyone, no one can understand. Do you know what I mean? Like, how scary must that have been for him? And like, you know, sometimes I'm like, that is so sad that he felt like he had to sort of hide it from us and, you know, act like everything is fine. You know, I'm guessing he must have been thinking like, what the heck is going on, you know? And probably just thought like, yo, I'm just going to act like I can hear these people. But like, just imagine how that was, you know? It's so important when you're like, you know, seeing a doctor, whatever, to try as much as possible, even when they've given you the drugs, research the drugs. And like, if we'd actually maybe left the doctors and just researched the drugs, but we didn't think to do that because we trusted our doctor and we trusted the hospital, because this is a clinic that we've been to so many times. There's never been any issues. The reason for this video is to remind you that people do make mistakes. Health professionals are not exempt from mistakes. So I can see like there's a little bit of the purple on my nose, so I'm going to put a little bit more concealer over it just to cover it up. And then I'm going to apply my powder on it. Yeah, so I think for me, like, it's just one of those things where it just reminds you that doctors can make mistakes, and you have to be very, very careful to make sure that you're not one of their mistakes, and to make sure that if you're keep an eye on, like, if they tell you you're meant to see this particular side effect and you're seeing other side effects that are not included in what they told you you get, it's always important to research. It's always important to have a conversation with a follow-up conversation after, if possible, to be like, okay, I'm noticing this is not part of the side effects you told me about, could you please, yeah, this, and then see what the doctor says, because I think, you know, and then at least find out if that's meant to be an additional side effect that some people get but you were just unlucky not to get, you know. But it's just a reminder to be careful. Try as much as possible to get a second opinion if at all possible. It's not always possible, but I feel like whilst, you know, I know people say don't use Google and stuff, if you're using Google for like focused things, for example, if we had researched that drug, we would have known it's definitely not, for example, what if, let's assume he had malaria, right, and the drug was something completely different and treats, I don't know, cancer or something, I don't know, any other illness. If we researched the drug, we'd have at least known, okay, it's not generally used for this, so we'll ask for that question. But we didn't research it, we trusted our doctor and we ran with it. And that's just, I'm just making you aware that, you know, sometimes you need to do your own due diligence as well. Use Google, but use it wisely. Don't be like, don't self-diagnose. However, you can use Google to, you know, check and make sure stuff is all good, if at all possible. But yeah, so that's my own little 2 cents on that. Now I'm going to get into finalizing this makeup. So now I'm just going to do my contour with my e.l.f. powder thing, and my cream concealer rather. I'm just going to use the really dark shade. Also guys, like, I'm sure you guys can tell that this is like a different vibe, in the sense that like I'm having a conversation with you guys while doing my makeup. Is this something you like? Is this something that I should, you know, would you want me to continue to keep my story time videos separate, or would you want me to do some separate, but at least can talk whilst I'm doing my makeup occasionally, if at all possible? Let me know in the comment section which one you prefer. So just blending that contour and get rid of any harsh lines. just want to blend my cheeks out. If I'm looking this way, it's because the mirror that I'm using is here. Well, I'm technically using the camera as a mirror, but yeah, you get the point. Cover it again with my Mercier powder, just a little bit, just right here, just a little bit. Another thing that I really like doing is putting Mercier all over my face, but in really small quantity. And the reason I do that is sometimes foundation makes you look either sometimes too yellow or too, yeah, it just doesn't look right and it doesn't like match your skin well. But applying this translucent powder over it kind of balances it out a little bit. For me anyway, that's what it sort of looks like. So like I don't end up looking too yellow when I do it. So I'm just gonna so if you look at that now with my neck, I'm actually doing a lot better. So I've done my lashes off camera and now I'm just going to apply some highlighter, and this is from Revolution Pro. So this is the final look, guys. This is the final look. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section.
Please subscribe, guys, and tap that bell for notifications. Please make sure you give this video a thumbs up and leave a comment in the comment section. Thank you so much, guys.
Yeah, I'll see you guys later. Bye.